What's good, guys? My name is Eric, and I punch demons. So, we're going to be doing somewhat of a different video today. I normally don't like getting involved in things like politics or current events or even like drama for that instance. I try to avoid those subjects. They're not happy to talk about. However, there is a recent event that I can at least provide a decent perspective on. That's going to be the recent dealings with Helldivers 2. As you know, this game has pretty much taken over my channel for the past few weeks. I'm supposed to be finishing Tugers. I'm stuck on Deetsaw's map. And what am I doing playing Helldivers? Why? Because it's fun. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's fun. The main issue comes in where they're now requiring a PlayStation Network account to sign in. So I think at this point I need to give some of my own background. As you may know, I am an avid Gran Turismo 7 player, so I already had one of those accounts. I linked it day one. That's not an issue to me. A lot of it isn't an issue to me. But like all human beings, we all have biases. We all have different outlooks of the world, and for the most part we should respect a good bulk of them, unless it harms someone else. This is one of those cases. For well over a decade now, I have worked in call center customer service. I have helped clients who make over $1 million a year. I have helped clients who drive nice cars. I used to do a lot of customer service in regards to the automotive industry, specifically with like personal assistance, things like that. Now I'm in a different call center, much larger company now too. I'm not going to give out any names. I loved both my jobs, honestly. May have been a little critical of the first one, but still. The point is that I am thoroughly trained on how to communicate bad news to people. I am thoroughly trained on how to communicate and de-escalate hostile situations when it comes to customer service. And the main thing I am going to take up issue with is Spitz's responses. Those are unacceptable. This is how you kill a company. Because a lot of people throw around this title of community manager this, community manager that. All they are Discord admins. They're nothing fucking special. They may have a higher wage than me, but at the end of the day, from my perspective, they seem like glorified customer service reps. And they don't know how to talk to people. Like, you can easily look at historical evidence when it comes to what? You all can't do XYZ. It misses the point. It's tone deaf, and quite frankly, that's not how you talk to someone. I guarantee you, at my job, if I'm trying to help troubleshoot someone's app issue, and I'm like, what, you don't know how to find the iOS version on your phone? What, you don't know how to open the camera app? I would get fired immediately, right off the bat. That's called being hostile to the customer. You know, and many of you are going to be like, well, blah, 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 you know, Spitz is, you know, do you know who Spitz is? It doesn't matter. You don't bite the hand that feeds. In this case, that's Sony. But at the same time, you don't treat the people keeping your game afloat like that. I'm not going to go into the comments he did say, nor am I going to go into the comments that were made on Twitch, just because I don't want to draw too much ire to myself. I'm just venting some of my own thoughts and experiences on this. For the last few hours now, the Discord has been completely overrun by the community. The community managers are just completely silent. Now granted, they're in a different country, they're in Sweden. But this should be one of those, holy shit guys, it hit the fan, all hands on deck, get on your computers, you know. Like, there's no damage control right now. And I may not know what it's like to actually be a Discord admin. I've never held that title. I have held the title of a Facebook admin before. Oh, nor have I ever held the title of a community manager. However, it seems like my job and their job have similar goals. And that is to keep the customers updated on things, help the customers when needed, things like that. That's why they have a Discord, so that you can discuss the game and they can get valuable information towards making cool stuff for the game, as well as helping people who are having trouble with the game and technical support, things like that. Which is what I do. That's what I do in my current job. I help troubleshoot basic things and then send it up to the higher ups when there is much more involved data involved. That being said, I would never belittle someone I'm talking to, and I can't get over that. I saw the comments. I even saw the whole spits on Discord, you know. Again, I don't want to direct quote because it's just kind of a shitty thing to do, but you can easily find it in the Google search. I think Pirate Software had an amazing take on some of his comments. But the thing is that this is probably a company that isn't used to a lot of success. Helldivers 1, I didn't even know about Helldivers 1 until I saw it, you know? And exploding this quick, it's kind of hard to keep up with. But I don't think a lot of the problem comes from the developers themselves. A lot of this issue comes from the fucking corpse at Sony. Like, they're the publishing company. What they say goes. They don't have a choice. Their hands are tied. At the end of the day, if Arrowhead wants to keep their IP and, you know, keep their publishing rights, even keep their doors open, they have to bend to the whim of Sony. Sony pretty much owns them. That's how publishing rights work. You know, like, look at EA. Look at the people behind Mercenaries. They ain't here no more. Why? Because they weren't profitable and EA shut them down. God rest in peace, Pandemic Games. But now we're facing a new issue, and I think a lot of people on both sides don't really understand the full effect that this has. When you're shutting out a large portion of the world from a game, that's going to hit the bottom line. And they've really put themselves in a position where that bottom line can't be affected too much, because if you already bought the game and you bought it day one and only found about it now, you've definitely played well over the hour mark that Valve conveniently yesterday made new rules about refunds in terms of advanced access. So there goes that shit. So now you have this dead game in your library that in some cases you can't make a PSN account because you're not in the correct country. And it's kind of funny, 90% of the countries that you can make a PSN account, it's a little colonial if you ask me, Sony. A little whitewashed. Granted, all of South America pretty much except Venezuela, you know. And I don't think the proper response is, well, we'll just expand access. That it's well beyond that. It's backpedal. You have to backpedal these things. And a lot of this is going to hinder on Spitz's and Baskinator shoulders. Like, it's, you address them. Like, here's how I've been trained. You always address their concerns as legitimate. You always address a customer's concerns as legitimate. I am sorry that this happened. I'd be frustrated too, but this is what the policy is moving forwards. And just that little bit of empathy can really win over some people. Now, you're not going to win over everyone, but this is just one of those instances where an underpaid, overworked call center rep can literally call out errors in someone who's probably making 6 digits a year, but does pretty much a similar job. And holy hell, the Discord right now, like I said before, it's overrun. There isn't a single Arrowhead staff member saying anything. They have all gone dark. Player numbers are dropping, and negative reviews are coming in like crazy. This is literally how to kill a game overnight. And even if they backpedal, there's going to be a lot of people who are just not going to come back. This is not something you easily come back from. This takes it from a AAA game to a B status game overnight. And you're never going to reach that AAA status again. This might actually cause the closure of Arrowhead Games. And without the ability to refund the game, I think that's the major issue. Like, Sony really does need to talk with Valve to make an exemption on refunds. Especially to people that don't live in a country where PSN is supported. There's a lot of justified anger. And there are people that are like, well, I don't get it. It's just a 2-minute setup. I don't get it. It's, so easy to make a PSN account. So easy to link. Yeah. And there's a fatigue that comes along with it. There's a level of, oh, I have to do this shit again. And a lot of people are like, well, you don't have to. You don't have to play the game, but I can't send it back. But I can't get my money back for it. It's just gonna rot. It's a dead game in my library. I can't sell it. I can't transfer it. I can't refund it. Now, I am lucky enough to live in the USA where I can sign up for PSN, and I do have a PSN, and I don't plan on uninstalling or stopping to play Helldivers. Objectively speaking, this is probably one of the best games I ever played, and it's going to turn into a ghost town in the next week or so, if this keeps up. The most loud thing anyone can do in a situation like this is silence. And maybe they're just taking time to provide a news statement. Maybe Twinbeard is coming up with a news statement as it speaks. This is one of the few games I've played where I can name developer names, like the username of developers, off the top of my head. I don't know who the CEO of fucking DICE is. I don't know who the CEO of Bungie is. I never cared to look at the games that other people have programmed. I don't have a favorite, like, oh, this guy does this game too. I just play a game. Is it good? Yes. This is the first time in a long time where a games community is so entwined, you even know that, like, it's so homey that you even know who the developers are. They're not faceless. And their communication skills kind of fucked it up. But customer service in the western side of the world is a lot more difficult than overseas. One other thing I used to do was help with a lot of travel arrangements as well. And when items got lost, on planes and whatnot, part of my job was to call airline companies to see about the lost and founds. And oh boy, talking to European airlines, I can't tell you how many times I have been told, hey, we don't run things like that on this part of the world. And I think that is such a shitty thing to say to someone. But at the same time, I get it. You want to empower your employees. You want them to feel like, you know, they matter. Like, you gotta stifle the abuse a little from the customer base. But that doesn't give you precedent to shit on them either. And, man, I think what Arrowhead is probably going to need to do is they're going to need to get a couple different PR teams, and we're going to see a lot of legalese. We're going to see a lot of, you know, PR speak, double speak, as the book 1984 would put it. But they need an American division. They need a USA division. They need a Western Hemisphere division, because, you know, Mexico, the United States, and Canada are used to a certain level of customer service the rest of the world doesn't seem to get, at least in my experience. And when you make tone-deaf, aggressive comments at a widely United States-based customer base, you're going to understand the full force of democracy and what that word means to us, as it's pretty evident in the Discord as it is. And to be fair, a lot of those people are going to bat for people in different countries. And a lot of those people from different countries are going to bat for themselves, and they're angry too. Overall, I think community members who don't understand why people are mad need to take some time out, unplug their keyboard, and just read what people are writing. Read why people are angry. Vice versa. People who are overly angry by this situation, educate yourselves on, you know, why they might need to do something like this. Believe it or not, this is probably going to be a trend for more games coming to the PC and Xbox going forwards, because Sony wants to keep a tight grip on their first-party games. This is probably why Helldivers 2 maybe won't come to the Xbox. But we're going to get Halo on PS5, apparently, for some reason. And I hope they do that right. Anyway, I've been talking now for almost 20 minutes. My name is Eric, and I punch demons. If you liked the video, I'm not going to tell you to do anything with that, but engagement is always appreciated. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I am on my way to play some Magic the Gathering. Bye-bye.